Happy holidays and happy Monday from Wake Up Barstool. Look how seasonal we are, guys, and we're going to celebrate with an excellent show. The college football playoff bracket is set. Brandon Walker is going to break it down. We got Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel stopping by the program, as well as Notre Dame AD Pat Bevacua. We also got Greg Olsen and John Gruden joining for the football G-Spot. It all starts now on FS1. What's up, guys? Welcome in to Wake Up Barstool. T-Bob Hebert, Brandon Walker. We got Meekville and Liam Blutman behind the desk. Dave joining us from sunny Florida. And many of y'all may have thought after this weekend that Provo Dave would be cowed, that he would disappear. And yet here he is in all of his glory, still supporting his BYU. Dave, how are we doing, man?
It's not just supporting BYU. It's supporting law and order and justice, really, which we knew the playoffs. Somebody was going to get screwed somehow under some logic, and everyone knew it would be BYU, by the way. BYU, it's not like it was some shock, not like we were sitting here, eating our cookies and getting our sugar fill when they released the brackets, being like, oh, my God, we didn't get in. Everyone knew BYU wasn't going to get in because they set it up, and I'll let Brandon really go on it. The committee, with the exception of flipping Miami, Notre Dame, and even that maybe we saw coming by them putting them closer together. There's a lot of people who said they put them together so they could ultimately flip them. The committee did their work not on the reveal this past week. They did their work on the rankings the week before when they moved Alabama up specifically. So if Alabama lost in a fashion that they did, they could keep them in. BYU was put below Notre Dame for that reason. So everything was done really the week before. There was no logic that you can use that is seamless through this thing. It just doesn't work. No matter how you did it, it wasn't going to work unless you took BYU and Alabama, unless you said you can't be penalized for playing in a championship game, which you shouldn't. I stick with it. It should be BYU and Alabama. I don't think either of those teams can win the national championship, by the way. But I think you body the work during the regular season, how they could judge it. I think Notre Dame can win the national championship, but I don't think they have any gripe to be in it. So I don't know why we have a committee. It's stupid to have a committee. We let these people go to the room and play their game. So I'll let Brandon have it. Nothing surprised me here, and there was going to be outrage no matter how they did it.
So I went to bed Saturday night thinking that BYU and Alabama were going to fall out. And BYU didn't even fall out. BYU was already behind Notre Dame. But I went into Saturday night thinking, okay, well, Alabama might be out too because they haven't played well the last 6 weeks of the season. They didn't look good against Georgia. They got blown out. If you're Alabama, you at least need to show something against Georgia. They showed nothing. So I'm thinking, okay, well, the committee's got their excuse now. They don't have to make the choice between Miami and Notre Dame. Yeah. They can put them both in. And I thought they were going to take that opportunity, and they did not. They absolutely, whether you think it's because it's the SEC, whether you think it's because of the logo or the name Alabama, that committee loves Alabama. It loves what they did this year. It loves their resume. It loves something about them. So he's right. They did do some legwork and make sure they had a little bit of pillow and a little bit of soft landing with Alabama looking like they did and kept Alabama in. So when they kept Alabama in, I thought, okay, well, they're going to be a brand name committee. They're going to be a committee that likes the big guys. So they're going to keep Notre Dame in. And they tell Notre Dame to hit the bricks. So I don't know where the committee's coming from. I think BYU, Dave's right. BYU, 11-1 in the regular season. You look at them and Notre Dame and what they did in the regular season with Notre Dame having 0 wins. There's no real reason Notre Dame was ahead of BYU last week.
It's not even close. I mean, you can, people can say this shtick, whatever, that you put the resumes. And we said over and over, BYU, 2 wins, better than any of Notre Dame's wins. They had a tougher schedule rank than Notre Dame, and they had fewer losses than Notre Dame. There's absolutely no reason Notre Dame was ahead of BYU, and you do have to lock the season. Like, all right, Georgia is playing great football, right? And by the way, I don't think Alabama should be in it, but Georgia's playing great football. They've smashed everybody. People are arguing for Texas. Well, Georgia destroyed Texas a couple of weeks before. You shouldn't get penalized for playing in your championship game. You just shouldn't. There's no reason to play in it. So if BYU, you lock the season, you lock Alabama's season, but you knew what this thing was a done deal when the committee chair went on national TV and said Alabama had a good first half against Auburn and held off a really spunky 5-7 Auburn team. It was done. Ship it. Like, that was the most ridiculous. They looked really good in the first half. That's how they held on. They need a miracle in a rivalry game. So, everybody can complain, I guess. Like Notre Dame, you can sit there and say, well, I test, we're the strongest, and I agree with them. Miami can sit there and be like, well, we beat you, so you're out. The only ones that made sense, as I said from day one, was BYU and Alabama. And people are going to be like, yeah, but I test, they got smushed by Texas Tech. By the way, what happens if Texas Tech comes around and wins the national championship?
Yeah.
Then what do you say to BYU?
They're really damn good. They're really damn good. That defense is sick.
The defense is...
This theory of, well, they can't win the whole thing. They can't win. Yeah, but who can that shouldn't be why you get in. Like, playing a first round playoff game in these things, that's a big deal. Like, making the play, it's like the tournament. What if you can't, in basketball, I'm saying now, if you can't win the whole thing, you don't get in the tournament. You earn the right to get in. That doesn't mean a lot of these teams can't win the national championship. The true idiocy of all this, and I don't get it at all.
Word.
That idiocy's word is,
idiocy.
What is Tulane and JMU doing? Who came up with this format?
So
what a waste. What an absolute waste to have these two teams in. Why? Who? What in what world are these? Who came up with this format?
It's charity. It's participation culture. It's trying to make ourselves feel better. It's pretending every year that if we give the G5 an automatic spot, it makes everybody involved in this a good person. Who cares? The G5 should have access to this tournament. They should. They shouldn't have an automatic spot every year, because every year there isn't a G5 team that is worthy of it. And now, the way they wrote the rules, the way they wrote their guidelines, they put themselves in a corner where if the ACC has a I almost cussed. If the ACC has a terrible, terrible champion like they did, now all of a sudden 2 G5s need to get in because we got to fill those spots. Ridiculous that we've got 2 spots going to charity cases where we have Vanderbilt out, we have Notre Dame out, we have Texas out. We have so many teams that could take these spots. And Vanderbilt couldn't win it, but they could give the 5 and the 6 seeds something to do in the first week as opposed to what these 2 teams are going to do. JMU and Tulane taking these charity spots is absolutely absurd.
So I agree with you. My only thing that I haven't been, and I consider myself, and as I'm sure you guys do, one of the smartest humans you'll ever encounter.
I don't.
No, I think you do. This group, the SEC, the NCAA, the committee, they don't strike me as the biggest charitable guys of all time. Like, who is the voice? What? Where? They've shown no history of being charitable. And by the way, that's the only reason we have this committee. It's power. It's keeping it. So, and it's why it took so long to get a playoff to begin with. People don't want to give up the power of the bowls and the committees, and they want to sit in this little room. Because I put it out. To be honest, you could pretty much say, let's just take the AP poll, the top 12 in the AP poll, and you're going to have far less debate. Yeah, 12 versus 13. But you look at it, BYU's in, Vanderbilt's out, that'll be a debate, fine. But you're going to get all the teams in. The only reason they don't want to do that is this Hunter Yurchek or whatever. He wants to sit up there. He wants to have his day. He wants to put his jacket on. The people in that committee. So that's why I don't get charitable. That's not what these guys are doing.
Well, I've always assumed that it was a way to try to keep the idea of the full breadth of college football involved, right? Now, for better or worse, right? Like, it might be a bit of...
Yeah, but they're not involved. They're not involved. Like, they're involved now, but pre-playoff, they weren't involved. Like a Tulane and JMU, they're not involved. Like,
well, you might say it's trying to avoid an antitrust lawsuit. That's what it's trying to do.
Well, that's different. That's not charitable.
It's trying to
that's
avoid.
What I'm saying.
That's what they're doing.
These are not.
Is that true?
I feel like they're trying to have the appearance of everybody has a chance, and everybody doesn't have a chance.
That's my point. Is that yes, they're trying to keep the notion.
Did you make that up, Walker? Is antitrust? Did you just make that up?
No. I didn't make anything up, but I'm just saying they are trying to look as if they are not ruling this thing the way they're ruling.
Or did that come from reality?
There's not going to be a lawsuit, Dave. I'm just saying that.
Is that antitrust? Is that something you just concoct in your brain, or is that true?
There are plenty of angles in which the NCAA has tried to avoid antitrust lawsuits, and they've lost every single one of them ever since the Justice Kavanaugh letter about, I guess, like half a decade ago now. I don't know how putting the group of 5 in there would be necessarily trying to avoid antitrust, but I think me and Brandon.
I feel like we're in court right now.
No. I'm simply saying they are making it look like it has the appearance of a fair and just society when it is not.
Because that's not charity. I've never heard that.
As I think
Walker
that
won't answer when I ask.
I just told you. Is there an actual lawsuit on the table? No. I'm saying they're making an appearance of a fair and just society when it is not.
Can we go to Blutman?
Hey, Dave. I don't know, man. This is all about money. This is all about the SEC, the big brands, the group of 5.
Antitrust? Is that true?
I don't have a clue what antitrust is. I ain't law stuff. That ain't my game. That ain't my world. I'm just
all right. I thought someone would have an answer.
No, Dave. There's no antitrust.
No, I understand that, but is that why they're in there to prevent that?
No, I don't think
you make that up.
No, I don't think that's preventative.
I don't think.
Okay, so you made it up.
I said the appearance of it, Dave.
He's getting at a larger point. At a time when college football is becoming more monolithic, more controlled, they're trying to avoid the idea.
Are we too early? We started this 2 seconds ago. Why is Tulane and JMU in it?
Charity.
That's what I asked. And everyone agreed. And then Walker said it's because first he said it's charity, and then he did a 180. And he says because they don't want to get sued for antitrust. Those are 2 different things.
It's not. Asking,
why are they in there?
What have you used this morning?
Here we go. In my opinion,
I'm making so much sense. It's crazy.
Okay, Dave. Let's keep it very simple then. In my opinion, it's not hard to understand. College football has always been viewed as unique because of the full breadth of it, right? This is a way of getting the G5 to the table, keeping everybody involved. Everybody has a chance. The sport still represents every single school, not just the big Uber conferences. It's a way of giving them a spot so that everybody feels involved. They can make money if they win. It's kind of trying to have its cake of like the old idea of college football and eat it too with the new idea of college football.
Okay,
and it's
all right.
And
I'll just say that's a fact. I'm saying you guys read that somewhere. That's fact. That's why they did it. Maybe we'll ask the Notre Dame AD when he gets
Well, let me tell you this. I didn't read that anywhere. It's not a fact. I simply use it as a talking point.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Okay, there we go. That actual thing does not exist. I'm saying, looking at the way they do this stuff, it seems like the actions of somebody.
Yeah, what I'm saying is these big conferences don't seem like the charity. They're not walking around being like, we got to make sure we take the little guy because we're all good people and we want to make sure Tulane and Jay. That doesn't seem like them at all. So that would make sense, which I didn't know because it's a waste to have them in. Now we've said it. Listen, if you're going to make people play these conference games, and they've devalued, I don't even know what I think of the conference championships anymore. I can't even wrestle with that in my brain because it's 100 years or whatever of these conferences mattering and winning your conference title matters and things like that. And now it's becoming like, college basketball where your tournament doesn't actually matter. Like the ACC, and I tweeted it and then people went down my throat. I fundamentally in the world of football cannot understand how the conference champion is not in the playoffs and Miami is in the ACC. They didn't win their conference, and I know Duke has 5 losses, but in my head, and like we already went over, I'm really intelligent, I just can't grasp that the champion of the conference is not in and someone in the conference who played in the same conference and didn't win the conference is in. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you should be able to grasp it because Duke, the way they wrote the tiebreakers, the ACC made a big mistake in the way they did the tiebreakers. They allowed a very bad team, Duke, get in their championship game. The other team, Virginia, isn't very good. So it's a bad conference. Miami had a couple of bad losses and put everybody in a weird spot. Miami's the best team in the conference. Duke, the champion, is not a very good team. It just happened to be that this year.
Shouldn't it be if you win your conference?
Yes,
Dave.
It should be automatic.
This is why I argue, get the subjectivity out of here. Get the committee out of here. No, have the actual football decide.
If you finish,
and then what if we did this, Dave? You want championship games to matter again? What if this weekend, instead of everybody sitting around, 6-3 played for a playoff spot, 4-5 played for a playoff spot, 1-2 played for a bye? What's the problem with that?
I don't even need that. I need the other teams that are on the bubble. I need BYU. Forget the conference. Well, if you're in the conference title game, you can't hurt them, but then let all the other teams do play. And what, Walker?
But the conferences are too big. That's what has happened here. The conferences and the search for money are too big, and it creates these ties and these situations that shouldn't exist. There should be about 10 teams in the ACC. They should all play. You should have a clear picture at the end who is the best team. That's what should happen. Instead, Duke and Miami had two common opponents this year. Duke got to go around and lose in the non-conference. Then in the ACC, they won and sneak into the title game. They weren't a good team. If it were a 10-team conference, they would have lost 3 times. Miami would have lost once or twice. Miami would have won the conference. But these big conferences and the search for money has ruined conference football.
Fine, I have no problem with that. I agree with what you're saying, but I cannot live in a world where the ACC champions are walking around with hats and they won the ACC championship and they're not in the team that didn't win. It's crazy. It's college basketball. If you win your tournament, you're in the dance, period. End of story.
Well, here's the thing. If we do sit in a situation where we say, okay, we're Duke, 5 losses, not good enough as an ACC champ to be in this playoff. Not good enough. That's a strong statement. But then to say, all right, we're going to send a second G5, that's crazy. Well, if we're going to say, Duke, you're not good enough, we're sending a team who's probably not as good as Duke.
That's a function of how they wrote these rules, right? It's also, Liam, I hope you're happy. Because this is all Duke's fault. Because the rule reads the highest 5 ranked conference champions, right? In no world, when they wrote that rule, were they expecting not 1 but 2 G5 conference champions to be ranked above one of the Power 4 conferences.
We got 2 20-point spreads in the first game.
I know.
This is
and
crazy.
we had 2 massive blowouts, 1 to an ACC team, 1 to an SEC team in the first round last year. There will consistently throughout the journey of this playoff down the road will be plenty of blowouts. It'll just happen over and over and over again.
Teams are going to start declining, like these trips to the conference game when no good can come out of it. It's great. Now, Bama should be gone. BYU obviously got screwed. BYU, they're out to get BYU the entire time. We'll stick with that. They should never been below. And Notre Dame, I mean, I don't know what you do if you Notre Dame win those games, but you're sitting there with a true national championship type team and you don't even get to play. That's a problem. That's a problem.
It's a mixture of problems, right? There's problems with the system. There's problem with the committees. There's problem with the teams not doing their job to get in.
It's a problem that these guys sitting in that room want all the power and all the look at us and all the answer the questions, and they overcomplicate something. I bet if you go back again and look at the AP poll for the last 100 years, it's the top 12 teams, if you did it that way, you're going to have a little debate, sure, 12 versus 13, but you're never going to have what we run into this year, and it's a joke. And I don't know whether it's antitrust or Santa or what it is, but I think it's more. Listen.
Santa.
Remember how long we had just the flawed system of picking the 2 teams to play. They couldn't get to the playoff. Nobody wanted to give up power, bowls and all this. It's still an improvement over that was, but as long as these men in suits want to control what's going on, we're not going to have fairness, and BYU paid the price.
Let the football decide. Coming up next, it's the Football G-Spot with Greg Olsen and John Gruden. Don't go anywhere. This is Wake Up Barstool on FS1.
And your guy, Baker.
What's happening, guys? Look, if you want football insight, there is no better segment than this one right here. This is the Football G-Spot.
Got me feeling icy.
I love football. Knock on wood if you're with me, everybody.
Can I finish my point?
All right, football G-Spot. We were talking the break. I don't want to get in. It's not a gambling G-Spot. But even these guys were talking the end of the Raiders-Broncos game, which cost me $250,000. Just I had my game of the year. Here it is. I've never seen this in all my years of football watching. It's a 10-point game. They throw this. There's 8 seconds, 7, 6, 5. That's nothing. They throw a flag with 4 seconds left in the game, delay a game. Pete Carroll, 10-point game, 4 seconds, puts the field goal unit on. Everyone knows you cannot. I mean, you're never getting the ball back. I don't even know the rules on an onside kick. Can you advance an onside kick in today's NFL? I'm not even sure. Like that, whatever it may be. I had a parlay with this, and it segues into what my game of the year was. This made me sick. I have the Texans to beat the Chiefs because I think the Texans, and I'm sitting here in my Drake Brady. We have Vrabel on the show later. And I'm studying the league now, guys. I'm in full, I got eyes on everybody because I know playoffs are coming. We're going after that 7th ring. The Houston Texans make me nervous. I have my AFC rankings: Patriots, Texans, Broncos, Jags. I'll start with you, Coach. What are your thoughts on the Texans? Were you surprised? And the Chiefs dead, I guess, conversely.
Yeah, no, we've said it a couple weeks ago when we did the Texans game. They have as good a pass rush as you will find. They got the Twin Towers. They used to have Sampson and Elijah Wan. Now it's Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. And they've got 2 shutdown corners, and they've got speed in the middle of their defense. They're going to be hard to score against. And you know this, Greg, if you have a great defense like you had in Carolina, you're going to be in every single game. And getting Stroud back is a positive. I still worry about their offense, but they can win ugly. It looks like they enjoy winning ugly, and they can physically put a butt kicking on you, man.
Greg, those rankings I had, Pats, Texans, Broncos, Jags, any issue with it?
No, I think you're pretty spot on for the most part. I agree with Coach. I think Houston, I studied them probably for the first time watching them in depth. I was getting ready for my game in Buffalo this week, and a couple weeks ago, Houston put it on Buffalo. I mean, they sacked Josh Allen 8 times. I mean, they gave them fits, and that's one of the best O-lines in the league. Josh Allen's one of the hardest guys, it seems, ever to get on the ground, and they got him down 8 times. And
I forgot Buffalo in that. I should have had them in there. Yeah. I don't know where you would put Buffalo in that ranking.
Yeah, I'm putting Buffalo's in that mix to me. You know I'm a huge Josh Allen guy. I got to see Buffalo win a huge game yesterday at home. So, you know, I get why you have New England, even though you're a homer. I get it. I'm not going to argue that. They have arguably one of the best quarterbacks and obviously the best record. So I'll give you that. I think
they're the most complete team.
Yeah, I still think Buffalo's probably that 2-3 area with Houston. I think Houston's defense, especially in playoff football, where defense and all that matters more than maybe it does in the regular season, where the regular season typically is dominated by who the best offenses are. And then we get all the really bad teams out of the way, and we get to playoff football, and now your ability to run and your ability to play high-level defense has a little bit more impact in playoff football than it does earlier in the year. But yeah,
that good is the Texans defense. When you just said, Coach said the Gruden. I think, you know, you got the Ravens team that was a total defense to Super Bowl. You've had some Giants teams. Is the Texans defense that good to win a Super Bowl by itself?
They don't give up plays, Dave. They have 2 really good corners. You know, forget about Stingley. Lassiter's a hell of a player. And they got a great safety. Bullock's a great safety. Their linebackers are very fast. They have a very good defensive scheme. You know, D'Amico Ryans brought that scheme over from San Francisco. Matt Burke is calling the plays. They're that good, especially at home. If they get a home playoff game, they're going to win that game. You saw what they did to the Chargers last year at home. They made Justin Herbert look like an amateur. The defense is for real, but I think to win a championship, they're going to have to find a little more consistency on offense other than Nico Collins. They are not running the ball at a high rate. They're not protecting the passer at a high rate. They don't call plays like they're a real confident offensive team. But Fairborn's a hell of a kicker. Their defense is outstanding, and they can win ugly. And I think that's what they're going to have to do to get to the AFC Championship game.
Chiefs dead?
Chiefs' road to the playoffs is brutal. I mean, obviously they need to win out, and they're going to need significant help. I mean, they're 2 games back from pretty much everybody that they're competing for. So they're, with 4 to go, they're in an uphill battle. Last thing I'll say to add to Coach's point about Houston, you know what, they kind of they're a little more reminiscent of like the Pete Carroll Legion of Boom Seahawk days, where you know exactly where they're going to be. There's not a lot of disguise. There's not a lot of multiple fronts. There's not a lot of multiple coverages. They kind of just line up and say, we are really good and we're going to beat you and we're not going to trick you. And that was always Seattle. When Seattle was at their best, that was always kind of their style. It was less scheme and more just about how do we block and how do we get open against these guys. Houston reminds me of that. And their offense is underwhelming. You know, can you count winning games where you keep a team to 10 points in the playoffs? I guess we'll find out, but they are scary good on defense.
Moving along, another team, Chiefs in trouble. Another team that, and I think we had Coach Gruden. He actually sang a song for me on this show, a couple, Johnny Cash, the train coming around, right, with the Ravens. And I said, these Ravens stink. I told you, and you're singing Johnny Cash songs in my face. I don't think the Ravens have won since then, Coach. And now they have this play. They're just a shell of themselves. A big call that they're complaining about. I know you hate refs. Let's show this play, the Isaiah Likely. This takes us back, I feel like, a couple years where not everyone knows what a touchdown is. Do you agree? Show this on replay. He gets 1-2. Now, he doesn't get the third, and they're saying that extending the ball, the rules, is that a football play or not? I'll start with you, Greg. Is that a touchdown or not?
Yeah, so here's the issue with the way they're trying to officiate all of this, and I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to add very black and white specific qualities to take out some of the gray area to determine what is a catch, what is not a catch, football moves. I think sometimes we need to just go by the eye test and say, okay, we all know what a touchdown is. Can I always explain it? Can I always classify it? No. That's a touchdown, right? He's got the ball secured. He's taken multiple steps. He's in the end zone. I think the play is then therefore done, and he gets knocked out late. I was a part of the game that kind of started all of this. I was in Chicago. Calvin Johnson caught a ball in the back of the end zone. He caught it. He rolled over as he was getting up off the ground. He let go of the ball to celebrate, and it was ruled an incomplete pass, and we ended up winning the game. And that started a lot of the controversy over what's finishing a catch and not. By letter of the law, maybe that is an incomplete pass. My football brain watching that says it's a touchdown.
Coach?
Yeah, that's a touchdown. You know, we got too many people in too many cities making football decisions. That's a touchdown. Has been, always will be a touchdown. It's like the people that selected the 12-game college football tournament. How the hell are we letting some of these people make decisions on football games? That's a touchdown. It has been and always will be. And I didn't appreciate the stiff arm on my singing of Johnny Cash, man.
Well, it wasn't stiff arm. You sang it well. It's just this Ravens team, people have been making excuses for the entire season because they got beat by a bad Pittsburgh team. These teams are not threat. They're not on my radar. And that brings us to a team that is on list that I have no respect for. And they're now complaining that they get no respect. Liam Cohen, the Jacksonville Jaguars are sitting there at like 9-4. I don't even think about the Jags. If I saw the Jags, they're just a nothing team to me. Am I wrong to not even be remotely threatened by the Jags, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably overstepping it a little bit. Listen, here's the reality about the AFC.
It sounds like you weren't like, oh, you were going to watch out. You were like,
I don't think anybody in the AFC is a juggernaut. When you look at the 7 most likely teams to make it in the NFC and the 7 most likely teams to make it in the AFC, I don't even think it's remotely close where the best teams in the playoffs are going to be as a whole. So I think that the unique aspect about the AFC playoffs this year, especially if, Burrow, by losing yesterday, I didn't want to face Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs with Burrow back. They're not going to make it. Lamar and the Ravens, to your point, they've had a tough season, but I definitely don't want to see them. Of all the and then of course Mahomes doesn't look like they're going to be in. This is the year of kind of like everyone's got a shot in the AFC playoffs. In the last couple of years, it really ran through Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen. Those were the three teams. Everyone knew it was going to come down to them. The other games were just kind of a formality in the first couple rounds of the playoffs. That's not the case this year. I think every single AFC team can beat every single AFC team. I don't think any of them should go into the playoffs and say, hey, this runs through us. Home field, on the road. I really just don't think it matters in the AFC this year. Very different in the NFC. The NFC is a juggernaut now. They've got the best teams by whole are all on the other side of the bracket, which is very unusual considering the star, quote-unquote, quarterbacks to start the season are in the AFC.
I wholeheartedly reject that thesis. Coach, what do you think the Jags? And when I say reject it, I think this league is so close. Like, I think the Patriots can go beat anybody. I think the Texans can go beat anybody. I think the Bills can go beat anybody. I don't think I don't think the Rams. What?
Oh, you're talking about in both. You're saying in the Super Bowl.
Yes, correct. I think the Super Bowl, whoever ends up in the Super Bowl, that will be
you got to win. You got to win. Again, we'll see who gets the bye, but they've got to win at least 2 games in the AFC playoffs to get there. And I don't think any of the AFC teams are clearly head and shoulders that regardless of who wins a wild card game, they could win the division.
I don't know that I disagree with that. I just think the Super Bowl, I don't think the NFC is far superior to the AFC.
You got to get there first, right?
I'm not talking about the Patriots. I'm talking about anybody. I'm saying I think whoever ends up, I think both conferences are fairly similar. I don't think this is the old 49ers, Cowboys, whoever comes out of that NFC is you crown them. I don't think the NFC championship is the Super Bowl champion guaranteed. Coach, do you think that's an interesting question? There's this big difference between the conferences?
I don't know what's coming out of the locker room week in and week out in the NFL. I've seen some of the greatest upsets this year. I've seen things I never thought could happen. I've seen a Final Four team, the Washington Commanders, turn into, I don't know what that was yesterday. They got beat 31-0. I've seen the Patriots, they're going from worst to first. I see it with the Jaguars. I went up and watched the Jaguars in training camp. I stood on the field with Liam Cohen. It's his first year there with a brand new staff, brand new system. They've won 4 straight games. They beat the hell out of the Chargers, and they are taking over the AFC South. And whether you like it or not, Josh Allen can come off the edge and rock you, man. And Armstead's a problem in the middle of the defense. They take the ball away, second in the league to the Bears. I don't know what's coming out of the locker room. Aaron Rodgers, what he did yesterday with a broken wrist at Baltimore, coming off that butt kicking against Buffalo. And the Steelers, whether you like it or not, they still got a lot of great players, man. They just haven't played great together. I have no idea what's coming out of the locker room. To put it in perspective, the Miami Dolphins, Dave, have won 4 in a row, man.
It's crazy. They're in the playoff hunt. I bet if you look, you could get this stat. My guess would be if we went to like DK DraftKings and you could probably bet the AFC or the NFC right now, Super Bowl, I bet it would be like NFC 2.5. I bet it's pretty close.
Yeah. Again, but the conversation started with disregarding Jacksonville and disregarding the path to the Super Bowl. So I think we found every year that come Super Bowl, anything can happen, right? And I'm not bringing this up to bust your chops, but like whoever thought the Giants that year were going to beat the Patriots? I think we see in the Super Bowl teams, it's not always the best team once you get to that point, but the path through the playoffs in years past, it was a foregone conclusion for the most part that it was going to come down to the Bills or the Chiefs. And during the Brady years, it was pretty much going to come down to the Patriots or the Colts. That's my point. I don't think the AFC, in my mind right now, the NFC playoffs, I think the top teams in the NFC are significantly, I think there's some dudes there. I think Seattle's for real. I think the Rams, despite the loss to Carolina, are for real. I still have an inkling that Philadelphia has the potential to find it because their roster is so good. But like, those teams to me are clearly the front runners to make it through the NFC playoff race. I don't feel that way about any of the AFC teams.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point. Last thing before we go, I got to tell you, and Greg, I don't know if you saw this, the comments, and this is a little off the beaten path, but Coach sat down with Vinny Testaverde, an all-time legend, and he's getting Vinny to do a hard count. And at first, Vinny's like, he gives him kind of a weak one. He's like, hut. And Coach is like, come on, give me a real hard count. So Vinny says, well, I got to stand up.
Normal count.
Okay. Sit. Blue 80. Blue 80. Hut.
Okay, that's pretty much all the time until you go on a hard count.
So now we go on 2, which is the setup to go on 3.
Let's hear the 2.
Here's on 2. Right?
Okay.
I'm not really expecting anybody to jump off sides.
Okay.
Sit. Blue 80. Blue 80. Hut.
Okay. Now the comments on this video. Because Vinny, he gets up there and he starts looking over the line. And people are like, this is giving an old soldier a dusty rifle. Like people are screenshotting him looking to the right. He's like, he's looking off Steve Atwater over there. Like he went into muscle memory mode when he stood up. He's not just doing it. He's looking over everybody.
You know, it's funny, Dave. I was in New York City. I had to go up there this past weekend. And whether you like it or not, Vinny Testaverde is the man in New York. There's people walking around with Testaverde jerseys, and they're doing the hard count in the Broadway. They're doing it for me. It's unbelievable. He is probably good enough to walk into New York today and start and play better than the Jets quarterbacks have played. He still looks great.
Yeah, and those uniforms they had on. Yeah, that was... The comments I had,
he looks great.
Looks great. I had tears in my eyes with all the screenshots because he looked reluctant, but once he stood up, it's like he snapped into a different guy, looking down the line, reading the defenses that weren't there. I mean, he's going up and down the line here, looking left and right.
That was like the scene from Anchorman when Ron Burgundy doesn't want to play and he's like, "Don't make me sing," don't make. And then he gets up and he just
snaps into it. The video has millions and millions of views in the comments.
Coach Gruden, what would you have done if he would have clapped?
No, we preface that, Greg. That ain't happening on my shows, man. No more clapping.
We had people on the toilet being like, I was taking a dump. I jumped off sides. Like people I jumped. It was unbelievable. All right. Thank you guys both. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
What?
What's going on, y'all? Happy holidays. Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. We got the Christmas decorations up. We got the menorah behind me. My big fat head might be blocking it. And we got college football to break down. We kind of fell into the playoff committee's trap because we talked about the rankings and not about the actual games that took place this weekend. Let's start with the Big Ten championship. Number 1 versus number 2. First time that's happened in conference championship since 2006. An absolute battle between Indiana and Ohio State. In a game coming in, a lot of people thought Ohio State had a big gap, clearly better. Indiana and Kurt Cignetti finished the run. They said, not so fast. The Indiana Hoosiers and Fernando Mendoza, now the undefeated Big Ten champs, 13-10. What a game. Hoosiers win.
Yeah, and this is one of those things of this modern college football era that I can't 100% get a grasp on because, listen, I still believe winning your conference, winning the Big Ten is so important. So Ohio State, their season, it's a big black mark on their season. Now, can they go win the whole thing again? Yeah, they definitely can. Is there a school of thought that losing this game, like how they lost to Michigan, could actually benefit them going into the playoffs? Sure. But still, Ohio State now, I don't know, I think since 2000, it's been a long time, maybe even before that. They haven't won a Big Ten title in forever. Everyone thinks Big Ten goes through Ohio State. It just doesn't. That's just a lie. They haven't won the conference in forever. And Ryan Day, and this is what I said, I've been saying the entire season, I said it would be Michigan. I said you put pressure on this team, game pressure. I said it over and over that I do not trust this team. I certainly don't trust Ryan Day if they're under pressure. And guess what? The boogeyman showed up. Some of the most gutless calls you'll ever see. That 4th and 1 that they had at like the 10-yard line or 12-yard line, and they opt to go for the field goal, and then they trot out this field goal kicker, and I don't want to pick on little kids, or that's not my job. He's probably getting paid, but the field goal kicker is doing trick shots. He's doing penalty like kicks from the sideline. You do a penalty kick, you swirl it in soccer. That's what this kid was doing pregame. He misses a 6-yard field goal that PFT, and there's the face that we've all come to love. The Ryan Day, woe is me. This kid looks like he just saw death in front of him, and they choke away this game. On top of it, I think and I'm a Julian saying guy. It's the first time he's been under pressure. He didn't handle it that well. He looked a little unsure of himself. I like Julian Sayin. I think even the most ardent Julian Sayer advocates can say he is not good at running the quarterback sneak. We saw it against Michigan, and then they do it again, and he goes knee down.
From a yard and a half, they did it. From a yard and a half, they did QB sneak.
And it wasn't even close. His knee drags instantly. He doesn't know how to run the sneak. So congratulations to Indiana. They proved they're for real. Now, honestly, you want to win the game. I think it helps you to have a loss to a degree going into this next round. I really do. But winning the Big Ten, I don't know. I can sit here and try to answer the question. Winning the Big Ten, as you guys are SEC, it means a lot. Winning that conference, it means a lot. But there's certainly in this new era of football some sort of benefit maybe to losing. But Ryan Day was exposed again. If you can get him down, get him in that close game, he's going to shoot himself in the foot. He's done it many times. He did it again.
Well, you mentioned the fourth down calls. Both those fourth down calls had 3rd and 1s. Both of them. They had 3rd and 1s, and they did these crazy passes on both of them. I don't know what they were doing. If you're planning to go for it on fourth down, run on 3rd and 1, go ahead and get the first down, whatever. Bo Jackson, the running back, was really running the ball well at that point when they did the 4th and 1. It was bizarre. But let's be fair here. Okay, Ohio State put them to the side. 2 years ago, Kurt Cignetti is hired from JMU to lead the worst program in the history of college football.
Yes.
And that is not hyperbole. Indiana is the worst program in the history of major Power 4 college football. And in 2 years, he has gone from that to undefeated conference champion, staring Ohio State directly in their eyeballs.
And not fluky.
And knocking them down. Yes, that's where Indiana is. This is legitimately one of the best 2-year hires in the history of college football. Nobody thought this was possible. Nobody even considered it. Why would you?
I laughed at him when he gave that speech. I laughed. I'm like, this guy's an absolute idiot.
Why on earth would you consider Indiana could do this? And here they are doing it. And now they go into the playoff as the number 1 team in the country. And whether they win or lose, I don't really care at this point. I do believe they can win now. I didn't believe they could win before Saturday. They look incredible. This is what a story.
And this is something that has to be pointed out here, because we can sit here and talk about Ryan Day, and sure, nobody's blameless. He could have made better decisions, but there was nothing fluky.
What are you, a Ryan Day apologist?
No, I'm saying there was nothing.
He could have.
What I'm saying is it's not about Ryan Day. It's about Indiana.
Well,
it's about an Indiana team and a defense that is just as talented as Ohio State, despite not being given the credit for it. It's about receivers and Surratt and Cooper Jr. didn't even play, and Charlie B being damn good receivers, even if they're maybe not on the level of a Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. The point is, Indiana was painted as some school not nearly as talented as Ohio State, and if you looked at the numbers coming in, it just wasn't true. And they went and proved it on the field. And yeah, like we said, man, you haven't seen Indiana. You hadn't seen Ohio State been punched in the mouth all year long. They did not respond well. You say maybe it's better to have a loss. I say maybe not with Indiana, because
we'll find out. But Walker
been punched in the mouth.
Walker brings up he said something that is, and I don't know what to make of it. He's right. He's like, he said, I don't know if Indiana, they're the 1 seed in the whole thing. I don't know if they're going to win the whole thing. I don't know that really matters. And that's the craziness of where we're at right now, because it should matter. They're the number 1 seed in the whole thing. And now if Ohio State, and I like talking to Ohio State, I'm a Michigan guy, they're my rival, just like you would talk Ole Miss. If Ohio State doesn't win the whole thing, they beat Michigan, but is this season a success? They don't win the Big Ten. They don't win the national championship.
If they don't win the national title, no, I don't think this season could be a success.
It'd be a massive failure.
Yeah, I think it would be an absolute failure, especially how we thought they looked all the way through the season.
So let me reverse it then, because that's the Indiana question. If Ohio State won this game, did not win the national championship, is that still a successful season?
I think anytime you get to hang a conference championship banner, get a ring for it, I do still think that matters. Maybe a decade from now it won't.
Indiana's gravy right now.
Well, I mean, especially for them, Dave. I mean, come on, it's been, 75 years since they won a conference championship? And to do it in this manner, think about this. And you mentioned Cignetti's original sound bites, which may be the best aging audio in sports history. But in 2 years now, the only 2 games they've lost were the teams that played for the Natty last year, and they just avenged against one of those teams, the team that was supposed to be the prohibitive favorite this year. Like, it boggles the mind. It doesn't
I
make
agree
sense.
with everything you guys are saying on Cignetti, and I'm not saying there should be an asterisk next to it, but there probably should of some little sort, because the rules are drastically different that allow somebody like him to go grab them, and you couldn't do that prior. So Mendoza's going to go, and the odds are he's going to have another great quarterback because he's proven it.
But the rules are there for everybody, and he's the only guy succeeding at this level.
Yeah, he's
I agree.
Yeah.
But
he's ahead of the curve.
Sample size of coaches, there'll be others who come down the pike who, even what's happening at Vanderbilt is not on this level, but it's pretty spectacular, and that's because he went and get Diego Pavia.
It's Lane and Ole Miss. We're seeing the guys who are now the hottest prospects are the guys who were most ahead of the curve, able to grapple with the new setting and find the most success within it.
Can I say
Put
something?
up those championship odds. I was looking at those.
Can I say something about the Big Ten championship game that it showed me another team can win the national title? I believe the Big Ten championship with Indiana and Ohio State's defense dragging those offenses down in the mud, making it a 13-10 game, it tells me that a team like Texas Tech can win the national title. That is a nasty, nasty, nasty defense, and they will have the ability to drag these great offenses down into a 13-10, 16-10 game, therefore putting them on an even playing field with Ohio State or Indiana, which I did not previously think possible.
It doesn't make a team like Oklahoma national championship good, but it does make them a little playoff frisky. This is starting to feel like
Georgia plus 600 seems like that's from a different planet with how they're playing right now. To me, Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia are pick any one.
I think you got to throw Texas Tech in there as well.
I have them slightly behind them just because probably name the other 3 schools. I mean, Georgia, the Georgia team that just beat Alabama versus the Georgia team that we saw in the beginning of the season that lost to Alabama, they might as well be 2 different teams. They're firing on all cylinders. Yeah. I mean, they didn't just kill them, they're killing everybody.
Yeah, and we should talk about this Georgia game a little bit. Alabama finishes with -3 rush yards, and that's with only 3 sacks. So not like some crazy sack yardage taken away, and you look at the third down difference. Alabama went 13 of 19 in the first game, 3 of 14 on Saturday. This Georgia team's rounding into form at the perfect time.
Well, Kalen DeBoer has sapped all the toughness out of Alabama. Showing up to the SEC championship game and not being able to run the football, that's only something that happened in the Kalen DeBoer era of Alabama football. Yeah. It's sad, but again, Georgia killed Texas a couple weeks ago. Dave said it earlier. Georgia killed Texas. Georgia's been killing teams, and then Georgia Tech scored, I believe, 9 points on this defense. Georgia Tech's a great offense. Georgia is rolling right now, and I think Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, those are the 3.
And then Texas Tech right behind them.
Charitably put Oregon and Texas Tech right behind them, and then I don't know that anybody
I would actually still put Georgia maybe a smidge behind the Big Ten teams, but it's such a smidge as to be irrelevant. All right, guys, hour 1 of the books. Coming up hour 2, we're talking Coach Vrabel. We're talking Bevacua. We've got a lot on Wake Up Barstool. Don't go anywhere. Look at that. Beautiful Chicago.
If I could,
you heard this deal that Notre Dame has for the future?
You going to ask the AD about it?
Oh, yeah. And the Raiders game.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Wake Up Barstool. And it is time for Davey Day Trading Global Stock Up, Stock Down.
Yeah, we're doing this a little early for all you traders because we have Mike Vrabel coming on at 9:30 when the bell opens. Stock up Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders. And I've been a Shador guy since day one, but he has looked pretty good as the Browns quarterback, getting reps, a lot better than he looked before. They lose a game. They took him out for the 2-point conversion. This is a beautiful pass, by the way. I don't know if you saw it too. His post game, they tried to, I don't want to say gotcha, but they're like, how'd you feel about getting benched? Perfect answer. He has most of the answers. So big stock up from Shador, who still can turn out to be a really good NFL quarterback, which I've said from the beginning. Another beautiful pass there. Stock up, Stranger Things. Caught up on Stranger Things. Listen, I'm a Stranger Things guy. Thought last season was a little bit weak. I'm not sure I know what's going on 99% of the time. I've lost the plot, but I'm into it. I like it. Stock up, Houston Texans. Defense makes me nervous. I think they're a legit Super Bowl contender. Stock down, relationships on Dancing with the Stars. This has been something that I've been saying for years. I used to cover pop culture quite a bit. I don't know how you let your significant other go on a show where the premise is you grind on each other for 3 months straight, all sweaty. Alex Earl, Braxton Berrios, one of the more famous couples, they break up after Alex Earl is on Dancing with the Stars. I don't know where you want to put Jackson Dart, stock up, stock down. DM'd Alex Earl 12 hours after the breakup saying, heard you're single. She posted it. I don't know how that goes. Travis Kelce, stock down, washed. Ryan Day, stock down, coward. My gambling luck couldn't be more stock down. I'm talking about, I bet 2 games on the NFL. I had the Raiders travesty where they throw the penalty on a delay of game with 4 seconds, and Pete Carroll trots the field goal unit out, down 10 with no time left. Insane. Jaden Daniels stock down, and it looks like I have something that says doubling gumbo, but it's T-Bob wearing the same sweatshirt that says gumbo weather. That's a sweatshirt you can only wear once. Stock down.
All right, my stock up.
It's cold outside. It's great.
No, that's a one and done. Once that you can't wear that multiple times. Can
I wear my girl dad hat from the store.barstoolsports.com multiple times?
The cute phrases on the sweatshirt, one time only.
Shut up. Get the brown off your nose. It's freaking gumbo weather.
I don't brown nose Dave, but I agree with Dave when he's right.
No,
he's right here.
No, I don't brown nose Dave, but I agree with Dave when he's right.
I saw it. It's like, I can't believe he's wearing that again.
All right, my stock up. The Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs are absolutely rolling right now. They killed Texas. They killed Georgia Tech. They killed Alabama. They look like a team who is national title good, and they are very young. They are young, and all these freshmen, all these sophomores are really coming into form. They look great. But the real big one here is my stock down. My stock down is the Baseball Hall of Fame. I get nervous every single year. I get sick. I was a kid in the South in the 80s when Dale Murphy was the most important human being in the southeastern part of the United States, 2-time MVP. You could not have lived through the 80s and had the opinion that Dale Murphy was not a Hall of Fame baseball player. Don Mattingly in New York to a lesser degree. I wasn't in New York, but Donnie Baseball was great too. Both of those guys should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. And last night, the era committee, whatever they're calling it, the modern era committee, I don't know what committee it is, but they're a bunch of idiots. They put in Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent's fine. He was never one of the best players in baseball. He was never the best player in baseball, like Don Mattingly, like Dale Murphy. Both those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Kent, congratulations to you. You probably should be in too. But the fact that Dale Murphy is not in this Hall of Fame means you shouldn't have a Hall of Fame.
That's not true. Jeff Kent was the MVP in 2000. So
he was the MVP in 2000.
He was the best player.
Dale Murphy was the best player in baseball for 2 straight years.
Is my stock up now?
No, I just wanted to see what you wanted baseball-wise. All right, my stock up. Dave, did you see the viral Tyler Shuck highlight video last week?
Well, no, but I saw him run for 2 touchdowns yesterday.
Major stock up on Tyler Shuck, guys. Saints think they may have found a quarterback. I'm going to say it here first. He's the next Drake May. Looks a lot like him, dude. How he climbs the pocket, the poise and everything.
Is he older than Drake May?
Tyler,
9 years older.
He's significantly older than Drake May, but he's still the next Drake May. Stock up, guys. Big hits. I mean, last night, Sunday Night Football was absolutely brutal, and we're talking legal, massive hits, made the Texans look scary as hell. On the flip side, stock down, Chiefs dynasty. Gonna miss the playoffs, gotta retool it. The first era of the Chiefs dynasty is officially dead, been saying it a couple weeks. The Texans finished it last night. Something very odd about seeing an immortal like Patrick Mahomes looked so fallible and so human last night. And then finally, my last stock down, the Colts, a team that I've loved dearly this entire year. Speaking of sweatshirts I've worn multiple times, Indiana Jones. Look, maybe playing on the fractured leg was too much, right? The Achilles tears. Now the Jags are awesome, the Texans are awesome, and the Colts are descending.
Colts aren't even stocked down. They're delisted.
They're delisted.
They're off the exchange.
Do you want to do a contract negotiation here? What's your sweatshirt budget?
I was also going to say,
we need to ramp that thing up.
I mean, well, I don't look. Stock up to me for being brave enough to wear the gumbo weather sweatshirt again when it's so snowy outside, and I'm going to eat gumbo later today. Stock up to me.
It's almost one of those things. If you want to do it, you can only wear that.
So now
that's your sweatshirt.
I have to do gumbo weather every day.
Sprinkle it like once or twice. It's just going to be, that's what he wears every day.
Yeah, you're like Steve from Blue's Clues now.
Okay, it's not, I mean, I like the fit. It's a black crew neck. Sure, whatever, dude. All right, Meeky Phil, what do we got?
Stock up the Fleming curse. Frank went to Notre Dame for his birthday a month ago, and Notre Dame missed the playoff because the Fleming curse, it happened. The New York Jets have the Indianapolis Colts first pick this year and the first round pick next year. The Jets will likely have a top 10 pick and a pick somewhere between 13, 14. So you know what, the Jets, they're stock up. My other stock up, Mississippi State football, because Mississippi State football is 5-7 and going to a bowl game, unlike the selfish Notre Dame Fighting Irish who do not want to play in a bowl game.
I have absolutely no problem with the Irish skipping that game. I actually like it.
I actually kind of grew to like it too.
I don't.
Liam, and
taking the ball and going home. Didn't you tweet yesterday, Dave, that it was a terrible move?
No. I said they're taking their ball and going home, I think.
Oh, I took that as a negative. You tweeted that as a positive?
That's the first time I've ever heard that used as in a positive connotation.
No, I mean, it is what they're doing. They're saying, I'm taking my ball and going home. I would 100% do that. They have a big problem with ESPN. Everybody does, because they think ESPN rigs it and says who they want. And then you can go play a game on ESPN, probably versus BYU, the first two teams out. Why do it? Like, the kids don't want to do it. I have absolutely no problem. If I was Notre Dame, I would not want to play another football game. You think you're the best team in the country? You're playing in the Pup-Tart Bowl? No thanks. Notre Dame, I don't like Notre Dame. I think their fans are arrogant. I think, join a conference or shut up. What
are you doing? What are you doing? You're not that tall.
Hit the table.
Wait, Liam, I'm surprised.
I grew to like it because they are just getting absolutely...
You're a ball guy.
Yeah. I am a ball guy. I also understand they're not going to be committed to actually caring about the game. They're going to have a bunch of opt-outs. Yeah, just do. I actually am growing more towards the idea of the bowl games in the spring. I actually am growing towards that a lot.
This is all.
I don't know what's.
Just go play a football game. Let your young players play. Let your guys that haven't played much this year play. Let somebody play.
Play-in games. If you're going to have conference championship games, schedule the extra game with the teams, and then you can figure and make them all count. You would have been able to figure out Notre Dame plays Miami, playoff game. There you go. Someone's in. Blah, blah, blah. It's not that hard. Or just take the top 12 AP poll.
Liam, be careful fighting monsters, okay? Lest you become one. Go ahead, Meek. Stock down.
Stock down. Bob Nightingale, who falsely reported Zach Allen was close to finalizing a deal with the Cubs on Saturday, only for 8 minutes later to change his tweet to saying the Cubs are hopeful to sign Zach Allen. It's entirely misreporting. Bob Nightingale has a history of that. And my other stock down, Brandon Walker, who before the season tried to predict the top 12 college football playoff teams. He went 4 for 12. His national champion pick, Penn State, fired their coach. His Heisman winner, Garrett Nussmeier, had his head coach fired. So Brandon Walker, my stock is down on you.
4 of 12. What does that come out to?
333.
333.
This is football, not baseball.
That's better than Tony Gwynn. That's better than Tony Gwynn. That's better than Stan Musial. It's better than Honus Wagner. It's better than a bunch of Hall of Famers. That's a pretty good batting average.
So what was the 4 he had? Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon.
No, he didn't have Indiana. He called Kurt Ciannitti a phony.
I did. I had Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, and then who? Oregon. Yeah, so pretty good 4. Not my fault college football was so unpredictable this year. Do better, Clemson. Do better, Penn State. That's not on me. That's on them.
It was not unpredictable this year, really.
Well, it was to me. I had Penn State being good. I had Clemson being good. Sorry for believing in people, guys.
It was.
Sorry for believing in human beings.
LSU, Penn State, and Clemson not just being not as good as we thought, but being actively bad is a pretty insane big 3.
Yeah, well, LSU's been bad for a while, T-Bob. Penn State, I guess, was surprising. But if you look at it this far... There's far less like, all right, I guess they should do what they should do in this era? Get rid of the polls. Like, you should not rank teams before the season, because that's what made it surprising. But during the course of the season, there weren't these abundant upsets for the most part. Yeah. And if you look at last year, there was a heck of a lot more 3-loss teams than there were this year, because there weren't as many upsets. So that maybe preseason, yes, but that's a different point. In this era, stop ranking the preseason teams, because it affects where you go.
I agree. So it was a really bad point by Meek.
Stock down me for believing an hour and 10 minutes into the show. I was like, Meek hasn't tried to throw me under the bus yet. And I was like, wow, this guy's turned a new leaf.
Stock down. Okay, wait, actually, okay, Liam, you got real quick. Give it to me fast, baby.
Stock up. You watching at home who thought you had a really bad weekend. You had more rushing yards than a college football playoff team did in their conference championship game. Me for being an hour 11 into the show and not mentioning the national champion UCLA men's water polo team who had a buzzer beater to beat USC. That's a really good job by me not being biased. Stock down to Telluride Bush haters and doubters and losers. Easy first tournament there. Daniel to say not a loser. He's actually a good guy now. We figured it out. We hashed it out with them. Prolute, Spart, TJ Haley, Capsidol, Jersey Jerry, Austin, the whole crew getting it going. They're good.
Let me tell you something, Blutman. I was live streaming the end of the BYU game, second half, and I'm getting harassed by a team that I own. It's like I'm grunky or something, like an owner that people stand granky. I don't know what. You better get these people under control. I'll shut the whole thing down.
The call, dude. There's a lot of trash talking, bickering, Dave. I can't control that. Also, stock down Ohio State wide receivers who can't catch passes in the National Football League.
All right, guys, coming up next.
Yes.
Time for John Gruden's Shred Line.
Stock down Baker Mayfield to Ibuka for 20 yards out. Unbelievable.
Tyler Shuck
Big
effect.
stock down.
It was not good. They got these hats right.
Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. We're about to do Coach Gruden's Shred Line, but first, our fearless leader, Dave Portnoy, has something he has to address with an important breaking news announcement.
Yeah, breaking news. I just got this email from Jordan King at Newsweek. Newsweek, request for comment. Hello, I hope you're doing well. Jordan King from Newsweek here. I'm getting touches. I'm trying to get a hold of Dave Portnoy. I'm covering the backlash to his rant about the ending of the game between the Raiders and the Broncos, in which he calls for the murder of Raiders coach Pete Carroll. Well, I would like to say this loudly, clearly, emphatically. We never want physical harm to anybody based on a decision, a play, anything. However, in the moment, you may be upset by one of the wildest sequences that cost you $250,000. So it is a metaphorical murder. It's like, I'd like to just scream. But we don't want harm. We don't want physical violence. We don't want threats. I disavow real violence. Anybody who thought I was actually calling for him to be murdered and killed so he couldn't breathe, you misread this situation, and I apologize. No murder, no violence.
Okay, so
just
an emphatic no murder statement from Dave there. Before we get to the shred
We've
line,
always been anti-murder here at Barstool. We will continue to be anti-murder.
Agreed.
A bold point, a courageous one, but one I agree with as well. Let's bring in Coach Gruden real quick before shred line. Coach, how do you feel about our shared leader here in Dave Portnoy calling for the metaphorical murder of an NFL head coach, as a former coach yourself?
I think he's insensitive. I think he's emotional.
Yep.
And I think he's consistently insensitive and emotional.
Good to
so I would just tell Mr. King to understand Portnoy is insensitive and emotional, especially when he loses a $250,000
on a sequence that will go down in one of the shadiest, weirdest sequences I've ever seen. But no murder. We don't believe in it. People get mad in the moment. You move on.
All right. Now let's move on, because it's time for my favorite segment, Coach Gruden's Shred Line.
Cut you like a surgeon. Lead them streets burning, shred.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Let's start with the Washington Commanders. Can we please? Here's a Final Four team from last year. They get Jaden Daniels back. They go to Minnesota to play a bad Minnesota team, and they lose 31-0. Daniels gets hurt again. And this is a horrific operation right now. 8 straight losses in the nation's capital. And then let's turn to the Cincinnati Bengals, can we? I mean, here's a team clinging to very little playoff hopes. They have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They get shredded again on defense. And Joe Burrow on a bubble screen gets a pick six by Christian Benford. The Bengals are eliminated third straight year. Disgusting. And then let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my hometown team, man. I mean, we misfit a run and Tyler Shuck runs for a 34-yard touchdown. We drop a touchdown pass, and the New Orleans Saints at 2-10 come in and knock off my Buccaneers.
That's right, baby.
Tampa Bay. What the heck is going on? And then the Baltimore Ravens. Here's a team that loses back-to-back home games to the Cincinnati Bengals, and Aaron Rodgers brings the Steelers in here with a 2-game losing streak, a broken wrist, and he shreds Baltimore. Something's really wrong in Baltimore. And then let's go to the Atlanta Falcons, can we? Here's a team that beats the Bills. They're 3-2 on Monday Night Football, and then they lose yesterday. 6-6 game, they kick the ball off to Rashid Shaheed. What do you think's going to happen? They lose 8 out of 9 games. This is not good, what's going on in Atlanta. But the biggest shred of the day, man, the biggest shred of the day has to go to the college football committee search team for the horrific 12-team panel they assembled. I'm throwing my stuff all over the building. Now, I got nothing against James Madison, nothing against Tulane. But if you have any clue, you put Vanderbilt, you put Notre Dame in the tournament. There's no way I want to watch Tulane, who lost 45-10 to Mississippi, play Mississippi again. Madison and Tulane, both of their coaches took other jobs. I know they're staying with their teams, but you really think they're 100% vested? How can they be with this NIL transfer crap that's going on? I think a lot of these ADs that are on this committee, these are the people that are firing coaches like me, left and right. I think some of these people need to be fired on this committee. There ain't no way they should come up with 12 teams like this. Use some logic, have some extenuating circumstances, and do what's right. This is ridiculous. Sorry for the rant.
Good rant. Coach, great rant. Hey, Coach, so we're going to have Notre Dame AD Pat Bevacua coming on here in a little bit. Notre Dame said no bowl game. You left out the playoffs, no bowl game. Your thoughts?
I think Notre Dame should get into the NFL. They could probably win 8 or 9 games in the league based on some of the football I watched on Sunday. I saw Notre Dame play live against Pitt. They beat the hell out of Pitt at Pitt. I realized they lost to Miami by a field goal in week 1. They lost to Texas A&M by 1 point in week 2 on a horse, you-know-what call, that holding call they didn't call.
Yeah,
but I just can't get over the fact that you have James Madison and Tulane in this tournament that people have been waiting for years and years and years to see the best teams in the tournament, and we screwed this up big time. And there needs to be an investigation if it's true that Notre Dame has been promised a playoff berth next year if they finish in the top 12. What the hell kind of world?
I think it's in writing. I think
we're going to ask that question. That is insane. And I guess we're going to ask that question. The only thing I can imagine is, I don't understand that, because if Notre Dame said, if they said no to that, what's Notre Dame going to do? We're not in the playoffs. I mean, you have to be in the playoffs. Everyone else is. I don't get any of it. We're still trying to figure out why Tulane and James Madison are in it. Walker claims it's antitrust.
Here he goes again.
Well, Walker, I got some stats for you, Dave. I was watching a rerun of Part of My Take with the great Brandon Walker and a guy named Tom Fornelli.
Here we go.
And they had 12 teams that they picked in the preseason to be in this tournament.
It was a
Here's
draft,
Brandon
Coach.
Walker's picks. Let's see how many.
It was a draft.
Got right. Number 1 is Penn State. Womp. Number 2 is Notre Dame. Womp. Number 3, Texas. Womp. Number 4 is LSU. I mean,
why'd you change the noise?
Boise State. Wait, Boise State.
It was a draft.
He picked Missouri. He picked Arizona State, Illinois, Washington, Louisville. I mean, and he's got a comment. Look at him sitting there with his feet up. That is what Brandon Walker does in the offseason instead of studying college football. He puts his feet up and he critiques coaches.
You can't study college. No. I got to defend Brandon. This is crazy.
I don't need you to defend Brandon. First of all, who gave him that?
Crazy.
He didn't look that up himself. All right, Jake
That's
Malasek.
a Meek Malasek special.
Company, man. I work for the Barstool brand, brother. 1 for 12.
It was a draft, coach. All my picks were off the board.
11, you would get fired. Gone.
Well, no, not all your
anything to do.
Not all your picks. You picked. Didn't you have Penn State as your national champion?
When is the break?
Look, coach is lashing out. Coach is lashing out. You got.
Coach is lashing out.
Notre Dame losing.
No.
The Bucks lose. Virginia loses. Malasek's pissed.
Virginia lost. Malasek's pissed, and he's going after me through Coach Gruden.
Bad vibes.
He's trying to kill my coach of the Raiders. What do you expect? It's been a horrible day.
Well, he should. Listen, I'm not trying to kill anybody, but there should be a federal investigation. Am I allowed to say that?
All right.
I said a coach should be fired 3 weeks ago, and Gruden's been mad ever since. I'm
sorry.
All this negative coaching, we have the Coach of the Year coming on next.
Yes, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel joining Wake Up Barstool next. Don't go anywhere. Grab a coffee. It's going to be great. Patriot Dave and Braves. Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool here on FS1. We got Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel coming up very shortly. A lot of football to get to over the weekend. A lot of tension in the air, guys. It's the holidays, okay?
It's beautiful.
We should be celebrating this sport in which we love, not denigrating it, not complaining all morning about the committee. Let's look forward to the games that we do have. We have Texas A&M Miami in the first round. We got the AFC South with not 1, 2, but 3 teams with winning records, guys. Times are good right now.
Yeah, listen, we'll get into it stinks the 2 of the games are bad, but this is a great time of year to be a football fan.
Yeah.
Again, we've said it on the committee. People are going to be mad about there was no way for the committee, whoever, if Miami got left out, there was going to be all hell to raise there because they beat Notre Dame straight up. So whoever got in or out, the logic of, and it's what Coach said going in, the rules that they set this thing up with are just flawed. They're inherently flawed. They got to be changed. I don't know how long the contract is or what they're going to do. I know there's thought. I don't know what you guys think of this. It may be too many, but there's thoughts. Fox, I know, wants to go to a 24 playoff team. They've been talking about RJ Young. I don't know if that's too many. There is. And what you got to think about, which I think is different than the NFL and college basketball, and they're both college sports, but when you look at the college basketball tournament, teams who make it to the Sweet 16 in that event, who don't really have a chance at making, you don't see them as a true national champion. That's a success. It's like, hey, we won 2 games in the tournament. What a great season. Football doesn't have that yet right now, but if you're going to expand it, it kind of is. Not everyone's competing for the title, but you're competing maybe to win a game or whatever. So it's a different era, and even like I said a million times, I haven't totally wrapped my mind around it on how to, like, again, the Ohio State-Indiana game being the perfect example. To me, when you grow up in the Big Ten, you play to win the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Winning the Big Ten title, that's huge. Ohio State, to me, their season just kind of got ruined. Like, they're this great team, undefeated. Well, Indiana won the Big Ten. Indiana's the team that won the Big Ten this year. And I guess if Ohio State goes and makes a run and goes back to back, they're going to do what they did last year. Oh, we did everything we wanted to do. We're Ohio State, but you didn't win the Big Ten. And to me, that's always grown up. So it's just a different era that you got to judge things differently.
So a couple of points, Dave. I believe a 16-team playoff could be on the horizon as soon as next season. So this thing is still like very malleable. It's going to change year in and year out. They continue to adjust and try to range find here. Coach Gruden, I want to ask you an actual football question, man. Did you get eyes in that Big Ten championship game on Saturday?
I did.
What do you think about
He's an Indiana guy, of course.
What do you think about Fernando Mendoza, man? I mean, this guy I loved his post-game interview. Like, in this age of cynicism and complaining, him just being so genuinely happy, overwhelmed with emotion, but more so his play. How do you think Mendoza translates to the league? Are we talking 1-1 here?
You know what? I give him a lot of credit for mental toughness. I mean, this guy you see him get hit in the first series.
Yeah.
So he proved he's physically tough. Against Oregon, he throws a pick 6 on the road. He brings his team back to beat the Ducks. He's doing things at Indiana that have never been dreamed about, man. This guy's got the Hoosiers on the football gridiron, undefeated, and arguably the number 1 team in the country. We'll find out.
Who's your prediction? If you had to take one team right now to win the college football championship, who is it?
I think Notre Dame should play the winner of this tournament and kick everybody's ass. That's what I don't like about college football. They have really screwed it up with this tournament. And I'm not going to get off my stance on that, Dave, but I still like Ohio State. I love Georgia. And just to make Brandon Walker mad, I was there at both of these places in the preseason. They have great coaches, and they have very, very good deep rosters.
Now, keep in mind, as bad as it seems, you can go back. I don't know, the BCS, I don't know how long that was, but there was a time, let's say this is the old days, this would have been Indiana versus who for the national championship?
Probably Georgia now at this point, Indiana and Georgia.
Well, we say that, but like they moved Ohio State to 2.
Yeah, but I mean, but in the BCS era, they would. I don't think you would have a rematch with as strong a candidate as Georgia winning the SEC.
Yeah, so it'd be Indiana and Georgia.
It'd be Indiana and Georgia, which is fine, but I don't think that's the national championship we're going to get in all likelihood.
It could be.
Which is a great, maybe that's a positive for this playoff. Look,
are we going in reverse order? Is Vrabel getting skipped here because he's not on? Because I see that ND.
It said
I see Pete Bevacua. He's on here. The ND Gruden can kneel down here. We got the the number 1 Notre Dame advocate here.
All right, let's welcome in a man who's all over the news right now, and that is Notre Dame athletic director Pete Bevacua. Pete, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. A very busy time for you. How are we feeling?
Oh, well, hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. We've felt better. That's for sure, yeah. But it's great to see all of you. And hey, Dave, I was going to say I'm a huge fan of your pizza reviews, and I gotta take you back to 2019. Johnny's Pizza in Mount Vernon is my all-time favorite. You gave it, I think, a 9-1 or a 9-2, and it's the best.
Absolutely a great spot. Buttering me up won't do it, though. Buttering me up. Nice try.
Everybody agrees on good pizza.
It will not do it. You have Coach Gruden who won't stop talking about it. But I am of the thought that you guys have nothing to complain about. I think you're a very good team. I think you could win the whole tournament. I'm a BYU backer. I think when you look at the end of the season, I don't think you should be penalized for playing an extra game. And I don't see any way the resume Notre Dame at the end of the season is ahead of BYU.
Well, let me tell you, I think there are a lot of deserving teams. I definitely think BYU is one of them. They had a great season. They lost to a really good Texas Tech team twice, but had a great season. I think Texas, Vanderbilt, Miami, Alabama, Notre Dame, all great teams. So we don't have any gripe with the teams that made it, or quite frankly, other teams that deserve to be considered. I couldn't agree more with you about BYU. They had a fantastic season with a fantastic coach. It's great atmosphere for football out there. I know you had a blast when you went out there. Our problem, Dave, is with the process, right? So we were, for right or wrong reasons, and you might totally disagree with me, but we were absolutely led to believe this entire CFP ranking season that we were in. You know, you go back to that first ranking, we were 6-2, Miami was 6-2, and they beat us. They beat us in that first game. I'm not going to argue that. I mean, that's plain as day. You know, it was a good game, but they beat us. But we were both 6-2. We were 10th. They were 18th. The only thing that happened from that point is we both won out in convincing fashion. I think we won our next 4 games by an average of 30 points. For some reason, we end up 11th and on the outside looking in. In the Tuesday ranking, the penultimate ranking, all of a sudden we drop below Alabama. We go and handle business in Stanford in a very convincing fashion. Alabama beats an Auburn team that had a difficult year, and it was a close game. And like, we're not getting reasonable explanations for this. You know, I heard one thing was they went for it on 4th down, and that was
that was crazy. And they said they had a good first half.
So Dave, you got to understand. To me, I have all the respect in the world for Miami. Great team, great program, great coach. All this, nobody's had more success in the last decade than Alabama. BYU, Texas, Vanderbilt, Clark Lee. I think the world of Clark Lee. We're not complaining. I'm not complaining about the teams. I'm complaining about the process and the fact that Marcus had to get up there in front of those kids yesterday and didn't have any real answers for them.
So do you think, and we'll get to T-Ball in a second, the committee knew what they were doing the week before, like you said. The way they moved BYU was down. They put you next to Miami. They moved Alabama up seemingly to give them a cushion. So it looked like, it looked like they already had made their decision, basically, the week before by what they did with the committee. Is that how you feel? It was already decided before the last week?
That's how I feel. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
So Pete, here then let's try to be a bit solution oriented, because I kind of see every team's conversation and how they ended up where they did, and I understand the arguments for each. Going forward, is the root issue here the number of teams? Is the root issue here the wording of the 5 highest ranked conference champions? What is the solution in your eyes going forward for the college football tournament?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, you could talk about the number of teams. I happen to think it should be 16 with 5 automatics and 11 at large. But you know what? Think about it this year. If it were 4 teams, there wouldn't be any arguments. I think the right 4 teams are 1 through 4. I don't think anybody would argue about those 4 teams.
True.
So to me, you could say, should it be 4, 12, 16? I don't think it should be any more than 16. I think that would be ridiculous. I think it would ruin the regular season. And the regular season is one of the things that makes college football so special. But whether it was 12, 14, or 16, we can live with any of that. And I think we can all figure it out. We got to focus on the process. And what part of my solution is these ranking shows, these rankings obviously don't mean anything until that last ranking.
Yep.
So just have the last ranking. And if we woke up on Sunday and that was the ranking and we saw where we were, and we didn't feel like we had the rug pulled out from under us, and we didn't feel like we let down our student athletes and that they were just gutted and felt like they got punched in the gut, like that's different than having our team being led to believe over the course of the last 5-6 weeks that we were in, provided we took care of business.
How much do you think if it comes down, there's a lot of talk, we're on Fox, obviously, ESPN in bed with the SEC, so to speak. You guys are not playing in your bowl game. I liked it, by the way, is taking your ball and going home, in my opinion. And what's to play for when think you're that good? Can you interject? Was there any sticking it to the network with that decision? Like, we're not going to let you profit off of us?
No, Dave, it's good. There really wasn't. So I spent the entire day yesterday with Marcus. He had notified the team. We were all watching the show together, and then, spent the day with him. First, you have to make these decisions immediately. First, you get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and then you blink and you have bowls calling you. So Marcus, Notre Dame and Marcus put a ton of emphasis on the captains of our team. He really relies on those guys, that what's going on, what's the feeling of the team. So the first thing he did is he talked to each one of them, had a series of conversations. How are you guys feeling? I want to get your input. And the unanimous consensus from the captains was this was a special team, unbelievably close team. And they didn't want to go out there and play in a bowl without Jeremiah Loves and the Jadarian Prices. I mean, this is a unit that came together, overcame 2 tough losses by a total of 4 points, won 10 games in a row. And we just, after hearing the captains and put so much emphasis on how they felt, made the decision, you know what? Let's not play in a bowl game. These guys have exams coming up next week. And then, the best thing for them, our student athletes, we really felt, go home, spend the holidays and Christmas with your parents and friends, and let's turn the page and start to prepare for next year.
Pete, I cannot thank you enough, man, for joining us. Hopefully, we might be able to explore this a bit further on the other side of this break. Some really great insight into Notre Dame's decision, as well as some solutions going forward. Right now, we welcome into the show Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. Pete, thank you again, man. Coach Vrabel, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. How we doing today, brother? Got to feel pretty good where you all are sitting.
Good morning. How are you guys?
First of all, Mike, I apologize for letting you keep you on the line there. My blood pressure was going up because I saw you in the waiting room. So I apologize. As a Patriot guy, I don't like leaving my coach waiting.
Nothing to apologize for. I will say this. I think Marcus Freeman is an absolute stud. I've known Marcus for a lot of years, tried to hire him multiple times in my coaching journey. And Notre Dame is in good hands with Marcus Freeman.
All right, so Coach, I got to ask you, this has been a special season for Patriot fans. You know that I've been a Patriot guy. I met you when you were playing in the early days of the dynasty. This season caught me off guard. Like I thought you guys would be much improved, 11-2 in the fight for the number 1 seed. I did not see that coming. I may have turned around. Did you have an inkling of this going into the offseason?
I'd be curious to see what Coach Gruden has always said. I didn't really have a lot of expectations. The expectations was to put a program in place that you believed in, but most importantly, that the players would believe in and want to protect. And I think we continue to improve, and hopefully we can continue to do that. We better continue to do that. But the expectations were just to put a program in place that they believed in, that they felt like could help them. And that was the whole goal. And once you kind of get into it, then it's week by week.
So does it change? I know we get coaches on midseason, and you may say something differently to me in a room where it's just me and you. I'm Super Bowl or bust now. Like I'm pulling out everything. Do the expectations now that you're sitting there, is that how you're looking at this season, or is it just week?
Well, what we're looking at is this is it's championship week for us, and for an opportunity to win the only championship that we can, which would be the AFC East. That's what our goal is. So that's the championship that we're focused on, and we'll need great preparation, but even more in improved play against this football team.
One last one, and I know Coach has it. When you took the job, I assume you're staying in touch with the Crafts. How important was the quarterback being there, Drake?
Well, it's vitally important, and you better, when you take a job, again, if you have a choice, you better have a quarterback or you better have a path to one. And Drake was special, having watched his performance last year and what he's done and how he's continued to improve, I think, and evolve just with his athleticism, but also being able to function and operate inside the pocket, I think has been the thing that has been really cool to see, and his transition up into the pocket, but then also the timing and the feel to extend plays as well.
Coach, you got something for him? By the way, make him slide, please.
Coach, great work this year. I got to ask you about free agency. You get this job, you had a lot of money to spend with the cap, but that doesn't mean there's good players available in free agency. But I look at Milton Williams, Spillane, Harold Landry, Stephon Diggs, Morgan Moses. I mean, you guys hit the lottery. It's a credit to you and your coaches, but can you explain how hard it is to get guys off other teams to come in as veterans and be this good, this fast, creating a new culture?
Well, you got to get, the whole goal was to get the right people in the building at the right time. And, I understand in free agency, it's like, you're shopping at, top dollar. Like there's not going to be any difference. So, try not to use the money. I'm trying to use the people that we targeted and that we were able to get, and that they have had great contributions, not only on the field, but in the locker room with this young group. And, when you turn something over and you're trying to just figure out who's going to be here, then who's going to help you. It's all about getting the right people. And I think that we've done that, and we have to continue to do that in free agency and in the draft and in player acquisition.
And I got to ask you about Drake. You were there with Tom when he was a young quarterback. Can you tell us maybe a thing or two specifically? What is it about Drake May that makes him so good? I know Josh has done a great job with him, but what have you seen behind those closed doors?
Well, there's an athleticism. I've tried to explain this, and I'm no quarterback expert. I know winners. I can tell the guys that are winners, and I think that there is an athleticism to the way that he plays the position in and out of the pocket that's probably different than some other quarterbacks. And I think that his ability to remain accurate while off platform or at different arm angles is something that I've really been impressed with. Situationally, he's really improved. There's been some plays that people wouldn't notice at the end of games. Teams are out of timeouts, and his ability to not throw the ball away, to not stop the clock, just in tune with that. That's something that, he's taken a lot of pride in, is his ability to do that and make the right decisions, when we've needed it.
Last thing I had to ask you is I hear about the Patriot way, do your job. I don't think I ever beat the Patriots. But what is the Vrabel way, the Mike Vrabel way? Can you tell us maybe a thing or two that is at the core of your philosophy that maybe fans don't know?
I think holding the best players the most accountable is something that I've felt like is critical. If I've got an issue with Drake, I'm not going to Josh Dobbs or Tommy DeVito and say, hey, we need to take care of the ball. I'm going to Drake. Or if I got an issue with, I'm not going to the third defensive lineman. I'm going to go to Barmore or Milt. And I think that the players appreciate that. I believe in making connections. I think that, our coaches do a fantastic job of making connections with our players so that we're honest with them, we're direct with them, and it comes from a place of care. I always say when somebody honks at you in traffic for going too fast, you flip them off. But if somebody you care about says, man, you better slow down, you think twice, like, man, am I driving like an idiot, or am I doing something wrong? So we try to create connections with them so all this stuff comes from a good place.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach. Best of luck the rest of the season. Obviously, I'm pulling for you guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Big fans.
Coach Mike Vrabel, Notre Dame AD, Pete Bevacua, thank you so much. Closing out Wake Up Barstool next. Welcome back. Everything looking like Patriot Dave. Shout out to Mike Vrabel for joining us. Pretty wild how this is all shaping up. And a big one coming up tonight on Monday Night Football. A couple of 8-4 teams doing battle. The Los Angeles Chargers, who, against all the injuries, against all odds, kind of like San Fran in this way, just finding ways to win, though I don't believe in their ceiling too much. And then you have the Eagles, obviously defending Super Bowl champs. Are they in the midst of another breakdown like they had 2 years ago? Where were you at with tonight's game, boys?
It's a tough one because I have no faith in the Chargers, and listen, I'm somebody who believes until you put the knife in the king or the champion, they're still alive. So I think the Eagles can make a run. I like them tonight. I am not sold on the Chargers. That 8-4, have they beaten anybody good, look good? I've never been a Herbert guy. I like the Eagles here.
Wow. I'm very similar to Dave. The Eagles haven't given you much to grab onto this year, but they're still defending champs, and the talent is still there. Every time I think I want to close the book on them, they come out, and Jalen Hurts looks good, A.J. Brown looks good, so it just feels like an Eagles spot.
I love the Chargers tonight. They're going to run the football all over that Eagles defense. No Jalen Carter is massive.
That is a big loss.
I think you're going to see a 150 rushing yard game from the Chargers tonight.
Hey.
I gave you Kayshon Boutte touchdown last week. I'm giving you a Rondé Gadsden touchdown tonight, plus 250 on DraftKings.
Thank you.
There you go, Liam. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to production. Thank you to Dave. We'll be back with more Wake Up Barstool tomorrow.